Hey, what's going on, y'all? My name is Derrick. We're going to have a brief conversation about the lesson today is going to be called, Why Do I Have Mold Problems? Now, before I talk about why you're having mold problems, I want to talk about the three groups. There's three sets of groups that typically call us, and I'm going to talk about the difference between three groups. Let's talk about group number one. These are my renters. These are folks who are living at a home. They think they have mold issues, but quite naturally, the property owner is slow in moving and he's not trying to do much about it. That's not his primary concern because he doesn't live there. So now we have a tenant that they either want free services, which we do not provide, or they want everything that we offer, but they're not in a position to pay for it. So do you see the conflict here? The downside of this is that if the property owner does get involved, then they're trying to do the bare minimum. When I say bare minimum, I'm talking about having an inexperienced handyman come out and repaint over everything that was wet. They might use Kills or some other product, but the sad part is the tenant is still going to be stuck. They're going to have tons of problems, and they're going to be limited as far as how they can deal with it. So group number two is our property owners. Now, we do love our property owners, but from our experience, landlords typically are not interested in permanent solutions or long-term solutions for a property that they're not living in. Your family is affected by the mold problems, not theirs. So again, they are, from my experience, for the most part, they're looking also for a economy solution. One caveat, one exception. I'm going to say one, maybe 2 out of 10 property owners that we deal with, they do stress that they want the problems resolved properly because they don't want no issues down the line. That's an ideal client for us. And now I'm going to talk about group number three, who is our primary customer. These are the property owners who live in a home that they're calling us about. Now, these are family folks, often mom, dad, with children involved. And don't forget about the pets. Sometimes we treat the pets better than the children, but that's a different conversation for another day. So my property owners, these are the ones who are definitely, I'm going to say, can I say they're more invested? Can I say that? These folks, they want to make sure that we do our job properly. They want to make sure that we take our time. These are the folks that are investing in whole house testing. They're making sure that there are no additional contaminants that are creating health problems. These are the individuals that are investing in our HVAC performance testing. These are the individuals that are investing in our HVAC cleaning and sanitization. You know why? Because they live there. It's their families, their kids, their pets that's involved. So they want to make sure that things is done right and it makes sense. So now that we have talked about our three groups that we typically serve, let's now talk about why you have mold problems to begin with. So for starters, we're in the PA. We are in the counties: Bucks County, Delaware County, Chester County, Montgomery County. We're in Newcastle County, Delaware, just giving you a background of where we serve. And we are in 6 counties in New Jersey. So in terms of how mold is getting into your basement or how mold is getting into your home, for starters, let's talk about a area that I'm well familiar with. Most people don't realize that I was a master plumber before I was 21, was one of the youngest master plumbers in the history of Philadelphia. So I know a little bit about plumbing. I know a little bit about the damages that plumbing creates. And I know from firsthand experience how most of these problems go ignored. Now, when I say ignored, I'm talking about a small leak in your bathroom that goes undetected, but your nice white ceiling in the living room or dining room, that slowly gets discolored. The peel or the paint starts chipping a little bit, and I can say firsthand that in some cases this goes ignored. And then after a while, you start to see more discoloring. What was a light brown or yellow may now turn black or blue or green. Now, this is alarming, and this is a time when people start to call. I'm going to say that the call should have been made prior to the black and green staining. As soon as you saw that the ceiling was wet, a professional, if not us, someone else should have been called, brought in to resolve the plumbing problem. But here is where it gets worse, because the average consumer don't know right from wrong for the most part. In this day and age, some people are only concerned about price. So now you're going to call a handyman, a jackleg, maybe the neighborhood plumber who probably does a good job at fixing leaks. But now he comes out to your home. He sees the ceiling, and the first thing that he wants to do, which I understand, the first thing he wants to do now is take the ceiling down to expose where the leak is coming from, especially if he can't find it from the floor above. So you might be asking, why is this wrong? Well, this is wrong because now he could have possibly contaminated your entire home with whatever mold species was found in this one area. So would you like to know how this process should have happened, or what we would have done? For starters, before the ceiling came down, mold testing should have taken place, for starters. After the results came back, or based on the results, a decision should have been made on the best way to take the ceiling down. We like to follow what is called the protocol of IICRC standards, which they govern how mold jobs should be started and completed. So in our case, we would create some type of containment. And when I say containment, I want to isolate this area, which is, let's call it the living room, which is right below your bathroom. I want to isolate this area to make sure that once this ceiling comes down, I want to make sure that there is no dust, dirt, no particles, no airborne spores is going to travel outside of these fake walls that my team and I have created. In addition to these fake walls that we've created, we're going to have equipment in this room that's going to be controlling dust. It's called air scrubbers. It's a commercial machine. It has about 3 different HEPA filters in there. We're going to be preventing, the purpose of this is to prevent the exposure or to prevent these airborne spores from traveling anywhere else. Now, once your ceiling is down and we have this area contained, protecting the rest of the house, now we can go about investigating and providing a solution for your leak. However, 9 times out of 10, guess what? This process isn't taken, and you've now created more problems throughout the rest of the house. This is just one small area. This same thing could have been a roofing leak. And again, same thing, ceiling open, exposure, because people don't know. So the lesson here, it would be great if you could hire a plumbing and mold company that come out to provide you the best possible service. And guess what? I got good news for you and I got bad news. The good news is that there is at least one company that serves PA, Delaware, New Jersey that can handle both the plumbing and the mold. The bad news is that for some, they're so tied up to getting a free estimate, they don't want to pay the small $99 service fee to make sure that your family is going to be safe. So we're going to parking lot that. The next biggest area that I have seen where mold grows and mold likes to live and thrive, we're going to say the basement. Your basement can be flooded for multiple reasons. It could be due to heavy rainstorms. It could be to a plumbing backup. It could be to a washing machine leak. It could be a number of reasons. But again, the general public, for the most part, doesn't know that wet building material should be removed right away. If your carpet is flooded and wet, that's not the time to open windows and let it air dry by itself. You probably have a padding of some sort under there that's going to be holding moisture and creating problems. So the lesson to be learned here is to make sure that if you are living in a space, any wet building material should be dried as soon as possible. Now let's talk about another topic that is about to come to my mind because I'm drawing a blank right now. So just hang out with me.